What's good, Josh? Your boy JaySuave. I am the host of JaySuave TV. And here I am once again giving y'all another video on The Chi prior to the season 7 finale that drops this Friday. I'm already feeling like this finale is going to be one that has a lot of twists, things that we don't expect to happen are going to happen. But we're going to pause on the season 7 finale talk until tomorrow's video. So yeah, lock in on that one. Definitely stay for this one though, because we got a lot to talk about still. Got two main things I want to talk about in this video. Number one, the return of Roselyn Perry in this finale episode. There's a scene in the season 7 trailer that we're going to talk about in this video that hasn't happened on the series yet, which involves Roselyn, which to me means she's going to make an appearance in this season finale. I don't think that they just threw that in there and they're not going to execute on it. Some trailers do that from time to time. They'll make cuts as the season goes, so some things you see in the trailer won't happen on the show. I feel like this is such a significant scene that it just has to happen. As conflicted as I am that she's coming back in the season finale, when mind you we have not seen her since the first episode of the season, for only a handful of seconds, by the way. Second thing I want to talk about in this video is in relation to Angie's sister. I know Angie, the wife of Hannibal, better known as Kyla Pratt. I let it be known in the same episode she was introducing that she does have a sister. Who this sister is, we don't know. Everything we've gotten about the sister has really been in riddles. We know the sister has connections, but we don't really know who the sister is just yet. With that said, despite the lack of evidence we have on who her sister could be, I got two likely candidates that I think could be her sister, and I'm gonna throw my parlay on who I think of those two candidates is her sister, because I feel like this will be revealed in the season finale, right? She didn't just throw this information out for no reason. Hopefully she didn't. Dealing with the Chi Riders, you really never know. I'm gonna shoot my shot with it just in case they do come back to this storyline. I could say I guess correctly on it, or just look like a jackass altogether. So we're just gonna get right into the video. But before I do, y'all already know what y'all gotta do. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all those things. To my YouTube people, y'all already know the goal for this week is to hit 200 subscribers. Let's lock in. To start off this video, like I said, I want to talk about Roselyn Perry. Talk a little bit about the 30-second conversation she had with Alicia to start out this season, and the scene that she's involved in that we have not seen yet on the show. So in this conversation that Roselyn Perry's having with Alicia is at the very start of the season. I think it's sometime after Alicia tells Tiff that Rob died. She invites her and a third party to Duda's funeral. Alicia said she would only go there to make sure Duda was actually going in the ground. Roselyn says, watch it, that's my husband. Alicia says, I don't got time for the nicety. And that's when Roselyn asked the question in the trailer, are you looking for revenge? To which Alicia responds, aren't you? And surprisingly, but not so surprisingly if you know her character, she says, nah, not really. I'm kinda good. I'm sure whoever killed Duda had their reasons for doing so. Manicure is too expensive for pulling triggers, plus I got a shooter for all that already. We already know she's talking about Serena shoot first, ask questions last, so she's honestly the last person you need to be having as a shooter. Her track record is not good at all. We were there when she pulled the trigger game. That's the last person you need to be bragging about behind a gun in any room. Before the conversation ends, Alicia says, if you ever need anything, make sure to give me a call, and Roselyn says, I'll keep that in mind. So that's the one and only scene that we see Roselyn in this season. Then we go to the trailer and it's a whole other story. We have this scene right here that has not happened yet on the show, so we can assume that it's probably going to happen in the season finale if they chose to include it in this season. We see here in this scene that Roselyn was clearly capping about that manicure being too expensive to pull the trigger, because in this picture she looked like she know how to handle a gun a little better than Serena. I mean, she upped that pole so quick in the trailer, I barely was able to catch a screenshot. I had to pause, rewind a couple times to get a clear screenshot of exactly what the hell she was upping. Now, the obvious question that's gonna come up when you see Roselyn upping this pole is, who is she upping it on? Who's on the other side of this piece? And the only person I could see being on the other side of this piece is Nuck. This is not a new theory. Many people have already theorized the fact that Roselyn is upping the pole on Nuck as is. I feel like that just makes the most sense. She had a cordial conversation with Alicia to start off the season, and that's the only other person that I could see of relevance that she would be upping the pole on. And if you think about it, as mad as I am about her absence throughout the season, it would make sense for her to go ghost for a little bit, make sure she got the answers that she was looking for in terms of who took out Duda, because whether she cared or not about Duda's death, that's still a big financial burden that she has to carry in his wife. That's something that we're not thinking about. You gotta really think about why Roselyn would even be picking up this piece on anybody after the conversation she had with Alicia. This is a character who's established she doesn't want to get her hands dirty. She's never got her hands dirty throughout the entirety of the show. She's only done negotiations in her entirety of being on the show. So now what if she's in a position where she doesn't have a choice but to get her hands dirty? Her being Duda's wife, I would not be surprised if she has to deal with the blowback of some of the decisions that he's made now that he's gone. From a financial perspective at the very least. From this trailer, she looked like she's well off, and from the conversation she had with Alicia, she doesn't look like she's too worried about much. But a lot of time has passed in this season is all I'm gonna say. Maybe now after doing her homework and knowing fully that Nuck was the one who took out Duda, she has more incentive to go ahead and take him out. For what reason? I don't know yet. Hopefully they give us a little context on what she's been going through this season, because I do feel like it's a little ridiculous to just bring her back in this season finale like this without a clear explanation of what she's been doing. As much as I want to see Nuck off the chessboard, I'd rather it be Alicia being the one to do it, or even Reg than Roselyn if she don't have a clear reason for doing it, which at this point, outside of the fact that Nuck killed Duda, she doesn't. She would be crazy if she actually was up in the poll on Nuck though. This will be the second time somebody stole a kill from Alicia in back-to-back seasons. Crazy stat. Now let me know what y'all think Roselyn's gonna get into in the season finale. On to the next part of the video, we trying to figure out who Angie's sister is. This is her introduction in season 7 episode 9 when Nuck enters her and Hannibal's crib. He calls her tough for whatever reason, and that gives Angie the opportunity to introduce the fact that she has a sister. And we could assume based on her response to Nuck that this sister is tough. And that's really all the context we have on the sister until episode 11 of this season, where we have her and Hannibal attending a service from Pastor Stanley and Charles. And that's when we learn that her sister had a history with Charles. They used to date back in the day. This is where we get Charles asking Angie how she's been, and Angie says she's still a mess, but she's figuring it out. She says that she would really love hearing from Charles. But then Charles reveals the fact that he's blocked. Charles also says till this day he feels like she's still the one that got away. Very insightful information on this sister. Now to me, there could only be 2 candidates on who this sister could possibly be, and I'm leaning heavy on one. I'm not gonna lie, I really just edited out this whole think piece I had on why I feel like the other candidate is not Angie's sister. And then I just went and thought about it and I'm like, no, I think that she's actually the sister. We're gonna go over Roselyn first. Now, Roselyn, I really did think was Angie's sister literally just 5 minutes ago. Admittedly, there's not really much to go off of when it comes to Roselyn being Angie's sister. You go back to the first conversation that Nuck and Angie has when Nuck says that she's tough. And Angie responds, "You should meet my sister." I went to the fact that, yo, Roselyn kind of tough. But is she really? We don't really have much evidence indicating that Roselyn is tough. And to be fair, this other candidate doesn't have that either. But Roselyn's been around for a lot longer, and we have some more evidence on who her character is. And there's not really an instance on the show where I would call Roselyn tough or describe her as tough. I mean, you gotta be tough to deal with Duda, I guess. But like, I don't know. That might be a stretch if I was trying to argue that. And when I go to that conversation and hear Angie say they came up in the same church, that leads me to believe that all these characters are around the same age. Now, unfortunately, the Shy does not do a great job of giving ages to these characters. Hell, they don't even do a good job of giving last names to all the characters, we be honest. Characters that have been around since season 1, 2 don't have a last name for some reason. So I had to go ahead and do a little digging myself and compare the ages of the actual actors to see if we get an idea of who she could have potentially been talking about, because that's literally all we have to go off of. We look at Candy Burris, the songwriter and the actress who plays Roselyn on the show. We see her current age is 49 years old. Still fine as shit for 49, I ain't gonna lie. But then I went ahead and looked up Rotimi, who plays Charles on the show, and he's only 36. Hold up, that don't really add up. That's damn near a 14-year age gap. Then I looked at Kyla Pratt, who's 38 years old. Just a year older than Rotimi. Now, Roselyn could be an older sister, but still, Roselyn and Charles messing with each other with that age gap. That shit's pretty sus if you ask me. I don't think the Shy want to venture in those waters for real. But then I went ahead and looked up candidate number 2, Zuri, who's played by Karuchi, and look at her age. Shorty is 37. And to me, that just makes a lot more sense than Candy being Angie's sister at this point. Now, admittedly, we don't have much on Zuri's character. Ironically, she was only introduced a handful of episodes before Angie was. From those episodes, we really don't know much about Zuri at all. The only things we know about Zuri is that she's suffering from some kind of addiction that we don't even know the name of at this point. But we know she was trying to get help for that addiction, being that she was in a rehab center. She's a mess, but she's getting it together. Charles even says later in the conversation with Hannibal and Angie that he was a mess back then too, indicating that this is a long-standing problem that whoever this sister is experiencing. Sister has dealt with this for a long time, probably has been receiving help for this for a long time. And there's nothing about Roselyn's character that indicates that she has any type of issue. Otherwise, we probably would have heard about that at this point in the series. Now, we don't really have much on her being tough, her coming up in the church, or anything like that about her past. But I don't think they're building up this relationship between Damien and Zuri's character for no reason. I think we're going to learn a lot more about her in the season finale to make Emmett and Keisha regret ever signing her up to be a babysitter of EJ or Ronnie Jr. Shit, this might be the last straw for Emmett and deciding to leave the Shy altogether. So y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments about everything that I said in this video. What do y'all think Ross is going to get into in this finale? And who do y'all think Angie's sister is? That's all I got for y'all for this video though. I'll be your host JaySuave. Hope you've been entertained. Y'all stay tuned for that season 7 finale predictions video tomorrow. Peace.